Hello, my name is Tyler Diaz, and this is my Mastery Journey presentation for Full Sail University. So what we'll do here throughout this presentation is we'll start off by going through just each of the 12 classes for the Game Design Masters program. On the screen, you'll see three different goals and tactics associated with each of those goals. Regarding that particular class, some of those goals will be specifically related to that class, and some of the goals will just kind of be more so related with kind of where I would be at on the timeline of the program at that point. So I won't highlight every single goal, but maybe one or two of them for each class. So starting out with the mastery, obviously this class at this point is more reflective than looking forward, but the main goal for this class would obviously be to learn what it means to develop mastery, specifically through Robert Greene's book, Mastery. A couple other things that I want to do, is getting involved with different clubs and communities at Full Sail and really starting to take advantage of all the resources that we have here. And then one thing that I've already started doing is shadowing the game design capstone tracks. So with the next class, game design, there is the way that I kind of want to start this class is really setting the foundation for success throughout the rest of the program. There's an article by Amy Castle from the Hub on Full Sail called "How to Succeed in the Game Design Master's Degree Program." So I feel like that'll be a fantastic read to kind of start everything off as we get into the game specific classes. And then, goal number 3 that you see on the screen here, there's a really interesting looking book called The Basics of Game Design by Michael Moore. And it's 12 different chapters, which will fit perfectly with kind of the timeline of the master's program. And so one thing that I'll try to do is just each month read a new chapter in that book and kind of have a resource for some supplemental learning outside of the specific Full Sail course material. Moving on to class number 3 is the game production tools. And so this class is really going to focus on kind of like the organizational tools that you have for game production and things like that. I was really just focusing on learning some of those things. That's one thing that I don't know that I'm very familiar with at all. So I look forward to this class introducing some completely brand new tools and software and things like that. And then at this point, I really want to continue or start maybe some new things for my own self-learning. Specifically, I know the Unity engine is a really popular one to learn first. It's one that I've started learning, and they have a really awesome learning platform. So continuing to do that at this point to kind of prepare myself for later on in the degree program will be a great goal. The next class, methods in the user experience. There's a really awesome LinkedIn learning video called User Experience Insights with Chris Notter. Or rather, I should say it looks really awesome, and I think it'll set a really good foundation for this course to kind of start with watching that and kind of understanding what is going to go on in this class. And then obviously I want to, at this point, it'll be time for me to apply for a specific capstone track. So hopefully I'll have narrowed it down to the one I'd like to apply for and get that done. The next class, quality assurance. There's another article by Amy Castle, the same writer from the article previously that I mentioned, called "The Truth About Video Game QA Testing." So I want to read that article to start the class off to gain some insights about the about QA in the gaming industry. I'm familiar with quality assurance, at least in some scope, just from my undergraduate degree, but kind of the specifics of the game industry with quality assurance are obviously can be a completely whole different beast. So understanding that will be crucial. I mean, at this point, I really want to start working on my own game. I think it'll be important for me to do some things outside of the degree-specific projects and things like that to really bolster my, my own learning, my own understanding, and my own portfolio to go along with what the degree program will provide. The next class, user research data analysis. Again, there's an awesome LinkedIn learning video series that I would like to watch called UX Deep Dive. Analyzing data. This particular one is just one video within a series to kind of set the foundation and really understand that user experience within within the gaming industry, but just kind of in general as well. And then I can apply that to my own game, whether it's for the capstone or my personal project, and conduct my own user research. The next class, this is one that I'm actually really interested in because I honestly have no idea kind of about the material here. I don't have any experience with prototyping and things like that, so I'm really looking forward to diving into a completely new concept and a new skill, and just using that course and those materials and things like that as a resource there. And hopefully I can apply that to, again, my own game, and then depending on kind of what the capstone has going on at that time, but creating a prototype for that. So the next class, the advanced production techniques, this is going to build on some of the tools from earlier classes, but one interesting application that I thought of, or rather goal, is kind of to research some of the leading companies in the industry, and figure out like how it is that they operate from a production standpoint. What sort of hierarchies do they have? What sort of tools do they use? And use some of the knowledge gained in this class to maybe figure out some of the real world applications of that. And then, applying that to each of the projects, personal, capstone, just ensuring that we're using those appropriate production techniques. The next class, again, it's going to build on some of the earlier classes, the advanced design workshop. It mentions specifically kind of building on some of those prototyping skills. There is a LinkedIn learning video called Prototyping a Game that I would like to watch to kind of further that understanding. And then moving on here to the next course, asset management. We're really starting to get towards the end of the program at this point. So, my personal projects, the capstone project are really in full force at this point. So really ensuring that we have the appropriate procedures and tools and things like that in place for asset management, and kind of applying what I learned in this class to those projects will be a really good time to do that. And then also, this is going to be a really important time to start kind of researching the internships and jobs and things like that. It's close enough to graduation where we can start, or I can start looking into what sort of opportunities will be available. And then the second to last class, the game usability and testing. At this point, both my personal project and the capstone will be nearing completion, and we'll probably have done a lot of testing kind of within Full Sail. But I think it'll be a really good time to take some of these skills that we learn in this class and really branch out to more friends and more family when it comes to testing and things like that for our projects, for my projects. And then at this point, I think it'll be a good time to start applying to those internships and those jobs, to really give myself plenty of time to seek out those opportunities and hopefully get some calls for interviews, and then really start to set up life after the program. And then the final class is just wrapping up all these projects. The personal project that I really want to get started, the capstone project. And then at this point, I'll have finished that book by Michael Moore if I didn't get carried away and finish it earlier in the program, and hopefully have a more well-rounded knowledge at that point. A couple of the industry contacts that I put here on this first page. These are all Full Sail contacts that they're either course directors or course instructors or program directors for the game design program, that kind of just based on the classes that they teach, or some of them I've had contact with already, so really good contacts there. And then a couple of contacts actually within the industry, for some of the companies that I really admire, Riot Games, Blizzard Entertainment, and Sony. Some of these people I've had very brief contact with before, just like through social media and things like that. So really good contacts to have. And yeah, so moving on here, the Personal Learning Network, all of these things listed here, the International Game Developers Association, Game Developers Conference, East Coast Game Conference, things like that, like game conferences are really common within the gaming industry, whether they're annual, semi-annual events that are really built for networking and showing off what you have and building new contacts and things like that. Some clubs and organizations within the gaming industry. What I have really listed here are companies that I really admire, and I really follow their work and I'm really interested in. Top three companies are very well known, very established companies to kind of model, hopefully model your own after and look after. And the bottom two companies are two that I'm actually extremely interested in: Dreamhaven and Frost Giant Studios. And in case it isn't abundantly clear at this point, I love Blizzard Entertainment and their games. And both of these studios are new studios that haven't released games yet, but they have, were recently formed by ex-Blizzard employees. So I'm very excited to follow them and see where they go. And then a couple of clubs here within the Full Sail community that I want to reach out to and see how we can get involved with. Mentor qualities, obviously with mentor qualities, they really are kind of widely applicable no matter what field you're in. You want mentors that have experience. They want, you want them to be non-judgmental and honest, so that you can really get that feedback on how you can improve, different things like that. And then what I have here for the timeline throughout the program is just, in blue you'll see the course title, and then the box, the white box, what it has here is kind of just like whether it's a statement or a question, just kind of highlighting the basis for that particular class. So like methods in the user experience, it's really meant, to learn how to design for the user. Or user research data analysis is going to teach how to understand user research. And then just the final 6 classes, again, the same idea. Advanced design workshop, it builds upon the design principles learned in earlier courses. Asset management is going to teach how to best organize a project's assets, things like that. And then that brings us to the last slide here, just the references for this particular project, or rather this particular presentation that I used. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful day.